Hey guys, it's Andy, and today we have our episode of Horror Talk for this week. And before we get going on what our new series is going to be, which I've talked about, but I just wanted to say if you like today's makeup, everything I'm wearing will be in the description box down below. And as always, all of my socials will be listed there as well, where you can find me doing my makeup. And yeah, that should be everything. Yeah. So if you like makeup unboxings with a little bit of horror sprinkled on in, please consider subscribing, hitting that bell so you don't miss a upload. And let's go ahead and get on into today's episode. Alright, so we have The Conjuring. This is our first movie in this whole universe of movies we're going to be covering. This came out in 2013 and has an IMDb rating of 7.5 out of 10. And the storyline goes, in 1971, Carolyn and Roger Perrin moved their family into a dilapidated Rhode Island farmhouse. And soon strange things start happening around it, with escalating nightmarish terror. In desperation, Carolyn contacts the noted paranormal investigators, Ed and Lorraine Warren, to examine the house. When the Warrens discover the whole area is steeped in a satanic haunting that is now targeting the Perrin family wherever they go. To stop this evil, the Warrens will have to call upon their skills and spiritual strength to defeat the spectral menace at its source that threatens to destroy everyone involved. We have our trivia, of course, which, is pretty interesting in my opinion. The real Perrin family visited the set of the film, which is interesting considering in the original case, Ed and Lorraine Warren were kicked out of the house as they weren't able to help the Perrins. So the fact that they even visited the set of the movie is interesting. I wonder how they felt about the film. 8 generations lived and died in the house before the parents moved in. So that's crazy. When the movie was shown in the Philippines, some cinemas had to hire Catholic priests to bless the viewers before showing it. That's crazy to me. Like, could you imagine that, like, here in the US, like, being blessed before you went in to view a movie? Absolutely insane. As always, this is the gruesome and gory part we're going to be getting into, the kill count. There are 22 kills in this movie. If that's not your thing, stop the video here. Wouldn't be very long for you, but I totally understand. If not, we're going to go ahead and get on into it. This breaks down into some that happened before the film. Let's see. So we have before the film, during the film. Yeah, and that's it. There are just a few that happened beforehand. So, we're just going to get into it. Again, 22, it's not the most out of this whole franchise of movies, but it is still up there. Like, that's still quite a bit. So, from before the film, we have Marytown Esti. If I butcher any of these names, I'm awful and I apologize. She was hung during the Salem witch trials, this is mentioned in the movies. We have Bathsheba's newborn child. She was sacrificed to Satan by Bathsheba. This is also mentioned. We have Bathsheba Sherman, hung herself, revived as a ghost. Rory was killed by Walker under Bathsheba's control, revived as a ghost. We have Walker, who was forced to hang self by Bathsheba, revived as a ghost. Unnamed boy drowned in pond by Bathsheba, mentioned. Unnamed maid forced to slit wrists by Bathsheba, revived as a ghost. This is, mentioned. We have 4 unnamed children killed in bus crash, possibly caused by Bathsheba. Seen in file. We have Maurice, Frenchie, Thieralt, shot himself under Valak's control. This is mentioned. So those were all from before the film, but they're mentioned throughout. And then all the rest happened during. So we have Sadie, who's the dog, who's killed by Bathsheba off screen. We have a pigeon who has crashed into the parents' house under Bathsheba's control. We have another pigeon that crashed into the parents' car under Bathsheba's control. Then we have 3 pigeons that crash into the parents' car under Bathsheba's control. Another pigeon that crashes into the parents' house under Bathsheba's control. Another pigeon that crashes into Drew's van under Bathsheba's control. And another pigeon that crashes into the parents' house under Bathsheba's control, and then Bathsheba Sherman, who's sent to hell by Ed Warren, which apparently this is a debatable kill, because heaven, hell, is it a thing? We're not going to debate that here. Lots of pigeon deaths. So if you're here being like, those poor pigeons, I feel you. I think the only one that really freaked me out was the first pigeon. That first pigeon that flies into the house scared me, because, you're not expecting it as a jump scare. After that, it's like, okay, can you cool it with the pigeons? We get it. The pigeons flying into things. It's too much. Too many pigeons. Killing the dog, though, really, I could have cried. I almost cried. If we had seen it, if it had showed it, I would have cried, because I'm one of those people. But we didn't, so. But it was still sad. You still had to hear the... I gave this movie a 4 out of 5 stars because overall, I think it's a good movie. I think it's a great introduction to the franchise as a whole. And if you hadn't already guessed, we're doing the entire Conjuring cinematic universe is what we'll be covering for the next few weeks here. I do think this movie could have had a little more oomph to it, but I think overall, especially being the first movie, it really got you hooked in. It was a really good introduction into everything as a whole. I think the story was good. I think the pacing was good. The acting was good. Who they picked to act for Ed and Lorraine Warren, I think was just absolutely fantastic, in my personal opinion. But I loved it. So yeah, if you were a fan of pigeons, this wouldn't have been the movie for you. But other than that, it really wasn't that scary of a movie, especially considering what we're going to be getting into going further. This is one of the least scary movies. But it was a great introduction. It left you wanting more in a good way, which I really enjoyed, which is why I didn't want to give it anything less than 3 stars, but I absolutely couldn't have given it 5 because there are better movies in the series. But for a very first movie, it was good. It was a good movie. I've rewatched it, and I would continue to rewatch it. It's a good movie. For me, anyway. I could see people not liking it, absolutely. But I could see people who don't like the killing and the gore and the blood, but like the spooky, could really like this movie because there's not a lot of actual death being shown, but it's more just thriller and spooky. There's a couple jump scares, but overall, it's just a really good story. And, it's based loosely on a true story because, obviously, Ed and Lorraine Warren didn't actually help this family, so it's loosely based on a true story, but I find that this overall was a really good movie, and I'm very excited to be getting into this franchise finally. I have had this paperwork done up for 2 months waiting because originally I was going to do this sooner, but then I wanted to do Halloween for the month of October, so then this got pushed back, but I digress. What is your favorite movie from the Conjuring universe? Leave it down below in the comments and let me know what are you wanting me to cover next. And as always, I will see you guys in the next one.